Good. I'm good. Thanks for asking.
How is your mother?
She's, yeah, she's okay now. Not completely good, but she's okay.
That's good.
Yeah. So, thank you again for accepting my invitation and accepting to be on my show.
Oh, you're welcome. I feel honored.
How are you?
I'm I'm doing pretty well. I'm underground in my grandma's basement because we live in a part of America where 17-year cicadas come up from underground. So they're very loud.
So, can you please introduce again to my audience again?
Can I do what?
Can you please introduce yourself to my audience again?
Well, my name is Jemma. I'm 17 and a rare condition called hyperacusis. Hyperacusis affects about 1 in every 50,000 people, and it's when people experience physical pain, everyday noises. It's very misunderstood by the medical community. I try to do a lot of advocacy work, raise awareness, including interviews like this.
So, hyperacusis, what is this?
Um, it's a medical condition where people get pain from sounds. It can be mild, moderate, severe. People can get pain in their ears, their head, area near their jaw. People can also get seizures from noise and become very disoriented. The mechanisms that we currently know about behind it are these type 2 nerve fibers that researchers recently discovered exist in the ear. They're under a class of cells called neurons, which are pain fibers that we have throughout the rest of our body, but they used to think the ear did not have any pain fibers, and they only account for 5% of the cochlear neurons. And they're thinking that that probably potentially plays a role in hyperacusis if those fibers become damaged in some way or are potentially hyperactive. And then the other type that they're looking into is middle ear hyperacusis, in which the tensor tympani muscle becomes inflamed, and that muscle contracts and there's very loud noise. But in people with hyperacusis, if it were to become inflamed, it would contract at much lower levels, and it has some connection with the trigeminal nerve, which could cause a lot of the head and facial pain potentially.
So, when you came to know that you have this,
Um, I've I've been doing research for a long time since I first was around 11, but much information wasn't really available when I was younger. It wasn't until I found out about the nonprofit organization Hyperacusis Research when I was around 12, and at the time they unfortunately didn't have any major discoveries until I was around 14. But the research organization, as well as the support group, Hyperacusis Research and Support, have helped me a lot.
I came to know about this when I met you. Before this, I don't know why this is not well known to the people.
It's a very rare condition. Only about 1 in every 50,000 people have it. and most doctors have never even heard of it, unfortunately. That's why I try to bring a lot of awareness um, about the condition. The medical community doesn't know about any of the research that's being done because there's very little communication between the research scientists and the clinicians. So a lot of patients often end up being harmed because the medical world thinks it is a psychological condition, that the pain is quote unquote in our and so a lot of times they do a lot of sound exposure treatments which cause what has come to be known in research as setbacks, where a person with hyperacusis has elevated levels of pain which cause the sounds that they are exposed to be even louder and more painful.
Can we cure this?
There's currently no available cure or effective treatment. The goal of the Hyperacusis Research nonprofit is to find a cure for noise-induced pain. They work with research donations and grant money that's given to them for more research. They're doing a clinical trial right now for a device that may be able to allow the patient to completely control the amount of noise that enters their ear at their tolerance level, but it's in the trial phases.
So, what kind of medicines that you take?
Um, I do take, when the pain is really bad, a type of thing called a triptan, but there are no effective pain medicines for people with hyperacusis because the pain channel from the ear to the brain, we currently don't have any medicines for it. There's a few people who have found a little bit of help with different medicines individually, but there's no specific medicine, unfortunately, that can treat the pain. That's why it's so hard to live with, and the only thing we're really able to do is avoiding the.
You're the most wonderful kid that I saw in my entire life. The people who have everything, who are very, very good physically, mentally, don't have that motivation to do things. Waking up in the morning and creating new things. I saw your work. I saw your Instagram and all. I never seen a person having that much dedication, uh, trying to aware people about the 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 hyperacusis. So I learned a lot from you personally. So where this motivation is coming from? Who is motivating you? What is your that strong willpower?
Um, a lot of it comes from my own experiences. I've grown up with this for about a decade now, and I was really misunderstood by all of my doctors growing up. They thought it was basically all in my head, and so I was subjected to a lot of different treatments and forced to do a lot of things that gradually made my condition worse and worse. The school system did not accommodate me. I went to a special needs program, but just the sounds of the bells and the movies being played in other rooms and people talking and laughing, I was in so much pain that I just had to come and sleep in my closet after school and wasn't able to do anything else. And it's just that I wish someone had advocated for me growing up, and that there had been more accommodations in place and that doctors had known, about the mechanisms because I wasn't believed. and I didn't know anyone growing up that had my condition. So I want to try to help other people so that they are not in as much pain and they can get their needs met, and to try to change the way the medical community handles and treats patients who have hyperacusis.
So this disease is more related to the sound, related to the ears.
Yes.
So so how do you observe things? How what is the environment that you have, and who said you to have this kind of environment? And when you came to know that I need to have this kind of environment in order to have a peaceful mind.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, what kind of environment that you live in?
Well, my bedroom has been soundproofed, um, and I have a closet inside of there for when the heating and air conditioning unit turns on. I also have an underground basement at my grandma's, which I'm in right now, and a closet inside of the basement for when it be too loud. And I don't really go out. I'm not able to go to like stores, parties, family gatherings, or most social events. Even things like listening to music or running shower water, or using a microwave, I'm not able to do because of the pain. So I do a lot of um, writing, as well as online advocacy through social media and interviews like this.
Do you have connectivity with the social world? Will you come out?
Um, I have friends who are willing to be quiet for me, and we hang out in my bedroom sometimes, which is nice. And every now and then I go to a quiet room in the library.
Do you have friends?
Yes, I do have friends. I have quite a few friends in the Hyperacusis support group. Really nice because I, for so long, until I was around 12, didn't have any friends who had hyperacusis. But I was very fortunate to have a teacher who had a chronic pain condition who could really relate to me, and we are still friends. And then I have best friends, Autumn and Shelby, who knew me before my condition, and they will come over and hang out in my room, talk softly with me. So that is really nice.
You have another friend now. His name is Sai, who is in front of you.
Oh, thank you.
So, so writing. So writing. Who inspired you to write, and what you write actually?
I've always loved stories ever since I was a little kid. Um, I listen to books on volume one very softly when I'm in pain, and just in general, as well as braille books. And I used to write. My teacher used to help me write to try to advocate to my doctors, as well as other educators, and try to explain about my hyperacusis. And I thought making up stories with my Barbie dolls and my other dolls. And so I really got into writing. I was in high school, when we would have these days where it was free writing every Friday, and I started working on my first long term story. And then since the pandemic, my writing's really taken off, and I've written um, the rough draft for three articles, one of which I worked with my editor on, and we're about to get cover design for. It's a series called the Mertopian Chronicles. It's a science fiction series, but my main characters have hyperacusis. In addition to novels, I also like to write a lot of poetry and articles on Vocal, which is a site for writers, as well as Medium and a Patreon page that I have content specifically dedicated to my writing. I also have a Hyperacusis blog that I write for, and then different articles for people who want to know somewhat about hyperacusis or about my story. So a mixture of fiction, nonfiction, and poetry. I'm trying to make a career for myself through my writing. Right now I have 4 Patreon subscribers, which is a really good start. And then I also use Upwork, and I received a possible invitation to be considered for as an outliner for a woman young adult fiction series, which would be completely online and quiet position for me. It's freelance work, so another way that I'm trying to make a career for myself.
You're doing everything that a person who don't have hyperacusis. You're like any other human being. You're not separate. You're not. It doesn't look like you have some kind of rare disease. You're doing everything. What you're doing, the person who have everything, like who can hear, can do things. You're doing everything. So this is amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I interviewed a lot of authors. I'm sure you might have seen on my channel. I interviewed a lot of authors, and they are doing same, and you're doing same, and there is no difference.
Hmm.
So, so do you have anything to say which people have to know about it? I don't have questions. You you
I
tell about
would
it.
I would want for people in general, if someone tells you that they're in pain from something, no matter how crazy it may seem, to believe them. I also want people to know that there are a lot of conditions that are very rare and that they've never heard of. And my message to doctors would be to listen to your patients and know that a lot of things where the science is not out there yet, and there have been many medical conditions throughout history that were thought to be quote unquote in a person's head that we have been able to find physical mechanisms for, and I think that we need to look back on that pattern before we label something as being in a person's head.
So how do you learn things? How do you use your eyes and your other senses in order to understand things and improve your knowledge and gain knowledge?
Um, so I'm about to be a senior in high school. I do distance learning since the pandemic, which has been extremely helpful for me. As I mentioned before, I used to be in a small special educational setting, but even with a lot of accommodations, I was in severe pain. I've been doing a lot of advocacy work with our county that I live in to make sure that myself and other students with long-term medical conditions can continue with distance learning. and they're setting up a digital education center after the pandemic. A lot of things I do learn either from my teachers or from research and things that I do online. As one of my teachers puts it, I don't have a lot of experiential learning in the world because I'm not able to go a lot of places. Um, I use my hearing in a way that I have the volume turned down very low on things. And then I'm also low vision, legally blind, so I use a lot of the vision that I do have by making things large and what's called inverted colors, white writing on a black background, as well as other things that make it easier for me to see what I'm doing.
So, who is your inspiration? Do you have any person or any books that is driving you and making you to create things? Because you do, I'm understanding that you're doing a lot of things.
Well, I really admire and look up to Brian Pollard. He's the president of Hyperacusis Research. He had very mild hyperacusis himself, and he was frustrated that all of the doctors were treating it like it was a psychological condition, while his pain just continued, to get worse, and he would have setbacks from the sound. And so he decided to use his knowledge and background in engineering to pull together all of the scientists and people who could potentially research or who were researching into hyperacusis and start and form a nonprofit dedicated to that, despite the fact that no one else was really listening to him at that time. So I really admire that.
So, what do you think about life? What is your perspective about life?
Um, uh, what do you mean by that?
What do you say about life? You know, as a human being, we got life, we are living, we are breathing, and we are seeing things, we are learning. So, what do you think about life? In your perspective, what do you think?
I think that everyone has a specific purpose on this earth. I'm a Christian, so I believe that God put everyone here for a reason and that He has things planned out for us to, that He has things planned in our lives that, as it says, good works that He prepared ahead of time for us to do in Christ Jesus. And so I think that one of my purposes is to help other people who have hyperacusis, and that's the reason that I have it and I have to go through the things that I did.
So, you're watching a lot of things having different capability, ability, capacity, and they're doing different things. What do you think by seeing them?
Um, I think that everyone, I don't think people should push themselves past their limits or put themselves in pain. I think that one of the issues with our society is that people have this quote unquote definition of normal, and if you're not able to live your life in that way, then it's a problem. And I think that even if your life is very different from other people's, because you're severely limited, like how I am with my hyperacusis, that someone's priority shouldn't be trying to conform or do normal things like the rest of society, but to take care of their bodies and themselves and their needs.
Mental or physical? Which one is more painful?
For me, the physical pain from the sounds, and for other people with hyperacusis with pain, the physical pain that we get from sounds is definitely the most difficult part of living with the condition. I'll quote something from a lady who has it, that the worst part of living with the condition is the the hellish pain. The second worst part is that people don't believe it's real, and I think that that probably causes a lot of emotional pain, at least for me, and a lot of loneliness growing up because I felt very misunderstood, and people not believing it can also lead to physical pain because it means that they are exposing us to things that are too loud, or doctors are recommending harmful treatments.
So, what is your driving force and who is driving you?
I would say just seeing how much people are suffering. I interact with a lot of people who have hyperacusis in the hyperacusis research and support group, and just seeing how much pain they're in every day and how they're not believed, and just hearing their stories combined with my own experience and everything that I had to go through, it just makes me realize that I just have to keep going with this advocacy work because there's so many people that are in pain and suffering, and the world needs to know about it, and we need to put in place accommodations for these people in society, and they need to be better understood by the medical community, more research.
So, you said 1 in 50,000 will get this. So, do other species get this? Other living things?
That is a very good question, and I don't think that scientists currently know the answer to that. However, we do know that some creatures like whales can be quite sensitive to sound in terms of sonar has actually been known to cause damage to whales. So we we don't know, but that would be a very interesting thing to figure out and to investigate with the scientists. One of the things that one of the research scientists, Paul Fuchs at Johns Hopkins University, is going to be testing a mouse model in which he changes the type 2 nociceptor fibers in the ear to see if that could cause a mouse to have hyperacusis. And of course, as mice cannot talk, they would test by if they are avoiding sounds. But I'm not sure if naturally this condition exists in animals or not.
Do you use any special hearing instruments? I mean, any audio devices?
I do have earplugs and sound blocking headphones, mainly things to block out the noise, like the soundproofing in my room.
So, what is the difference between you and a normal human being?
I would say that I get pain from sounds, and that most people, if they do something very basic like uh, eat with a fork, against their plate, or take a shower, or just turn on their sink water, or go heat up a meal in the microwave, or go to work at an office, or go to the store. They're able to do those things without getting extreme pain in their head and ears. And having to lay down for hours or days. I'd say that that's the difference between me and other people without hyperacusis.
So tell me about the people who are already into this and overcoming this.
Um, well, there is a woman named Maura Black. She has severe hyperacusis, and she runs the hyperacusis research and support group. And then there are other people who try to do advocacy work as well, like a guy named David, and then, of course, as I mentioned, Brian Pollard, who has a more mild case of hyperacusis, and a teenage girl in the Netherlands. She has desire to help people with hyperacusis as well.
Do you eat any specific food?
No, I eat most normal foods like other people. I just use plastic silverware or paper plates.
You listen to songs?
No, I'm not able to listen to music. The ups and downs in the volume and frequency are painful for me, but I do listen to audiobooks on a very low volume as it's steady and consistent in frequency and pitch, but most people cannot hear them on the level that I listen to them. Right now, I'm talking to you, my iPad turned down very low.
Yeah, that is what my next question is. How you are able to hear me?
Yes, I use my iPad on a very low volume to do things like watching Netflix or listening to some of my books, as well as attending my online classes.
So your room is a soundproof.
Yes.
So what is the maximum volume that you can hear?
Um, it depends based on frequencies. My tolerance varies. If it's a very high pitched sound, or even a deep, like motorized noise, like a refrigerator, that will be painful for me. I am able with some sounds to tolerate at somewhat of a louder volume, but most things do cause me pain. And it also depends on how much noise I've been exposed to. If I've mostly been in my soundproof room or my closet, the noise will cause me pain if I were to go outside for a while, but not as much pain as if I had been, going to school. So it also depends on my baseline pain level.
I said about you to my mother when I took your interview for the first time.
Oh,
Yeah, she don't know about hyperacusis and she had no idea about it. When I said to her, okay, she was understanding, and she gave me an advice. She told me that uh, hearing is something that she's also experiencing a lot of pain because of chemotherapy. You know about it. You know,
yeah.
she is experiencing a lot of pain, and when I was sitting with her, and she told me, you know, and she asked me where do she stay. I said she have a soundproof room where she can hear sounds which makes her hear which makes her to hear sound in the volume that she can feel comfortable. So my mom was telling she have to come out sometimes. So if she I mean she's not telling to you. Generally she's saying about the ears. So if you're putting ears and experiencing, if you are habituating your ears that sound, your I, ears become in that way only. It should sometimes it should come out, should hear some other sounds, some nature sounds, some human being sounds. She don't know science, she don't know anything about it, she don't know about it, but generally she's saying that, anything like she's giving some examples like if you one second. Yeah, if you habituate your body with certain kind of food, your body will become that. If you habituate your eyes uh, for some visuals, your eyes always want to hear that visual. If you habituate your nose some smells, it will be habituated to that. You know, you have to make it hear different sounds. You have to slowly, tell that, yeah, this is another sound, this is another sound, this is another food, this is another smell. So slowly you have to tell to your ears or to your other senses. It it will slowly try to absorb things, and won't get like uh, disturbed when you hear something different sound or high volume. So that is what, I don't know whether this is true uh, in medical condition, this works or not, but this is what she said.
So, there have been, it's actually one of the things that has been a big issue with hyperacusis, because a lot of doctors used to think that, a lot of them still do. The thing was, patients were getting worse by exposing themselves. That was why Brian started his research into the condition, because it didn't seem to be, following normal standards of what they were expecting. That if you gradually introduce the sound, that they would improve. Because there have been a lot of sound therapies that I've tried when I was younger, listening to what they call white noise. They had forced me to take off my hearing protection to gradually go places, and the pain level just kept getting worse and worse. And so now their research is finally starting to come out with some answers, that because there are, mechanisms that are causing this pain. That's why it continues to exacerbate when we're exposed to more noise, and that they still don't fully understand the concept of what is called setbacks, which is exacerbation of the condition when exposed to noise above patient's threshold. And that's still something they're researching. The organization Hyperacusis Research tries to get a list each year of patient priorities, as well as a survey, Sanford Cord survey, that people fill out. I can actually send you some of the articles on the latest research if you would like to include them in the links to the videos on the podcast, because a lot of patients unfortunately don't know about research that's coming out. A lot of doctors don't know, so it's very difficult for a lot of people with hyperacusis.
So I'm very happy that I'm talking with you again. It's a great opportunity for me to spend time with you, because I never thought that I'll get uh, an opportunity again to talk with you. It's amazing. Whenever you want to talk with me, you can if you want to send any message through my medium. I have YouTube channel, podcast, websites. I'm a blogger too. I I try to. Uh, I'm sure you have seen my channel or podcast. I try to send messages of different country people who are into different professions, and who have different experiences in their lives. I'm putting in my channel and telling the world. I have like some a small following on social media.
Yes, I think it's amazing that you collect different stories of people's lives and the human experience from around the world so that people can understand how other people live, what other people are going through, and just the diversity in our world of different conditions, positions people are in.
Yeah, I got very good compliments for interviewing you.
Oh, thanks.
Don't know why I feel that every human being is same and everybody are here to do something, uh, to create something. Then you know, like you said, everybody, the purpose of life, the purpose. We have a purpose. We are here to do something here. So we have to use our life to create something which is not existed before. And I like your motivation. Like I like your confidence. I like the way you are the same like every other species. There is no difference, and I feel very comfortable talking with you. And,
Thank you.
I'm sure in coming days you are going to create some things which is helpful for the mankind, and at the same time which will help people to do things and make things possible.
Thank you.
You wanna see my environment? I'll show you.
Sure. What
Yeah,
country do you live in again?
I live in India, South India.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm putting you on mute.
thank
You can see a dog sitting on the road.
It looks like a city, a large
It,
city.
it is a city. This is front side of my house.
Oh,
This is the road. So this is our main gate.
hmm.
So this is auto. That is car. So that is bike.
Does your family live here with you?
Yes, these are the roads.
Oh, the trees look nice.
Yeah, it's a nice colony. It's a good looking colony. You can see vehicles going. Yeah. So
Thank you for showing me.
yeah, I'm sure this will be new for you.
I
So
I like looking around at different places that I'm not able to go. My teacher just gave me a set of virtual reality goggles, which is really cool. It makes you feel like you are in other places.
okay, that's amazing. So there is no difference between you and me. What you are doing, I'm doing the same. I'm sorry. Yeah. So what you're doing, I'm doing the same. So I'm sure You keep inspire people with the work that you're doing, and with your thoughts through your books. Do you have you published any books?
Not yet. We have to get the cover design for my first one. It is called Alien Princess. I'm hoping to publish within the next year. Self-publishing. I can let you know when it comes out.
Okay. Uh, Let me know when you publish a book so that I will promote you through my
Oh,
media.
thank you.
Yeah. So send me all your links, like what are the links with.
Okay. I can send you the links to the research article.
Yeah, send me your links. I'll put in the description of this video. People who find our video on YouTube, they can
Okay.
find your links. So
Okay.
yeah. So can I put this video and audio clip on my YouTube channel, social media, internet, podcast, website, everywhere with your permission?
Yes.
Yeah. At last, have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
I have not.
Okay, when you have time, look at it. I'm sure you will like it.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you very much for giving me your valuable time and telling about a lot of things.
You're welcome.
Take care.
All right. Bye.